All right, so I want to show you guys how to start using Sketchy Physics with a new piece of software, a new extension we have called Twilight Renderer, Twilight version 2. And it pops up here under my extensions. Some of you might not see it right away, so if you go to Windows Preferences, you can see that under the extensions section here. Twilight 2 has to be on for you to see it. And its tools look like these. You can see we have all sorts of new stuff to play with, but I'll go ahead and dock that back into, there we go. So you can see my Rube Goldberg machine that I have already made, right? It has a bunch of steps in it. This was your last assignment. What we're going to do is go ahead and add scenes. And this is a little tough to gauge with what we're going to do here because we're going to get the whole thing exported with the Sketchy Physics running. So what I'm going to go ahead and do is go into my Twilight renderer, and I'm going to go into my animation editor, and this is, drag it back over. This is where we are going to get that from. This is how we do it, is inside of here, but there's a few settings I want to just show you before. So I'm going to go ahead and play, and you can see down here how many frames you're going to need in order to get the whole export of all the physics of all the things that get knocked around. You have to take note of that. I've seen mine. I think mine's around the 160 marker, 170 marker. And I still got a few things going on, but for the most part, there we go, 168, 169, 170, perfect. That looks fine to me. I need to know that before I get going, so I'm going to go back into my animation editor. And this is where we can change all sorts of settings. This first setting, you'll see, and it runs off my page here. Let me make it smaller. These are your quality settings. For this first video, I'd probably run it at low or low plus. The higher up you go, the longer it's going to take. Your dimensions, keep this chain linked. 500 by 375 should be ample. Right now, this is running at a 4:3, so this isn't widescreen or high definition looking. That's fine for this first example. Content, run all animation. Now this is where you need to pay attention. You need to make sure that this is running SketchUp scenes. Okay. We're going to be running at 30 frames a second, and you can see here where I adjust this. Right here is telling you how long this is taking, how many frames are rendered. So we saw mine was around 170, and I like to go a little bit longer. If I put mine at like 6.5, it's going to render 196 frames, which would be ample. This base image name, this is where you're going to tell it what folder to go into. So I'm going to go ahead and make a new folder for this to export into. And then you're going to have to give the file a name. And then hit save. You also have to make sure that Sketchy Physics is running. Now you can speed this up a little bit by clicking reuse lighting information. That also can screw things up for you. You'll see weird flickering sometimes. I'm going to leave it off for this demo and start at Sketchy Physics at frame. So you can delay, if I want to wait like 5 frames, which would only be a fraction of a second, or if I even want to wait 1 whole second, that'd be 30 frames, right? Because we're running at 30 frames a second for my animation to start. I could do that, but I'm going to go ahead and leave it at 0. You might notice that it might be too bright in your rendering, and you can adjust that here with the exposure. And let me think I can get... We can do a quick render if you saw how I just did that. If I click this green circle, I can do a quick render to see what this is going to look like. So all those same things are there that I had in my other view, and you can see what it's going to look like. You can watch it progressing. This is what your sample is going to look like, and that's a nice, easy way to start understanding what your Rube Goldberg machine is going to look like. And you can see this looks so much better than SketchUp. But I'm going to go ahead and close that. It looks a little light to me. I might adjust that. So I'm going to bring back my animation editor. There we go. And I'm going to bring my exposure down to like 0.8. So I'm going to go ahead. It's going to run this whole thing. It's going to take quite a while, honestly. You guys might plan on spending a portion of a class just exporting, because you can see here I'm going to start mine. It's going to take probably a handful of seconds for each one. So there, about 11, 12 seconds per frame. 11 or 12 seconds times 196 frames is going to be a while. So I'm going to go ahead and end this video for now, and I'll be back to show you how to do a few other things.